Hello guys, welcome to the Spring and Hibernate tutorial part 18. In this tutorial, we will be learning about bean lifecycle and bean lifecycle methods. What is bean lifecycle? What is bean lifecycle? In the Spring environment, behind the scenes, some of the processes will be done. What are those processes? This is the starting point of Spring lifecycle. Okay, so we can, if we are considering, it is the starting point of the Spring lifecycle. The first process will be Spring container will be starting. Spring container starts. The first process is Spring container starts. The second process, that is bean, will be instantiated. Bean will be instantiated. Third process, whatever the dependencies are there, those dependencies are injected. Coming to the fourth process, internal Spring processing, that is done by Spring factory. Internal Spring processing will be done by Spring factory. As the fifth process, we can have our own custom init method. We can have our custom init method. After all these processes, the bean is ready to use. How we can use that is by calling the methods on beans, or we can use the bean for our requirement. According to our requirement, we can use the bean. After that, as the sixth process, container will be shutting down. Spring container will be shutting down. After that process, as the seventh process, we can have our custom destroy method. We can have our custom destroy method. So basically, these process, or we can consider it as Spring bean lifecycle. Bean lifecycle. This is the ending. So this is the ending of bean lifecycle that we are indicating by stop. Now, what is bean lifecycle methods or hooks, we can call it? Bean lifecycle method or hooks. The first point here it is, we can add custom code during the bean initialization. We can add custom code during the bean initialization. We can call custom business logic methods. So we can call custom business logic methods, and we can also set up handles to the resources such as a database, sockets, file, etc. That is the first point. Second point, we have this destruction. We have bean destruction. We can add custom code during bean destruction. So calling custom business logic methods while bean destruction. And we can also clean up the handles to the resources that we have set up during the bean initialization to the resources such as a database, sockets, file, etc. That is the overview of bean lifecycle and bean lifecycle methods. Coming to the development process to write some code. What are the development process we do have? As the first process, define our methods for init and destroy. We will be defining our methods, that is init and destroy. That is the first development process. As the second development process, we should config the method names. We should configure the method names in the Spring configuration file. What we have created in the first development process, that we should configure in the Spring configuration file. That is the second development process. Now, to understand these things, we will write the code. The first development process is to define our methods for init and destroy. We need to define two methods, init and destroy. In a trackcoach.java file, we are going to create this init and destroy methods. In one of our previous tutorial, we have created trackcoach.java file. Please open that file. If you are double clicking that file on Project Explorer, you'll be getting it in the main window or main working window. So after all the codes that we have developed, we need to develop our init and destroy method. What is the syntax we are using here? Access specifier, we are giving it as public. Return type, we are giving void, and the name of the method, the name of the init method we are going to give is do my startup stuff, something like that. Do my startup stuff. Method name can be anything. Method name can be anything. So it is not necessarily do my startup stuff. It can be just init method or my own method for initializing, something like that. You can give it as whatever you want. It can be foo bar, that is the names the programmers typically use to give the names in programming. Basically, you can use any of the name for the method. And here, the access specifier, it can be anything. Okay, the access specifier, it should not only be public, it can be private, protected, anything. access specifier can be other than public. It can be anything. And what about return type? A return type is void. Most of all, most of the times, the developers use void only. Why? Because if we are using anything other than void, we cannot get that return value. Okay, we cannot get that returned value from this method, or we cannot capture that value. So that is why the developers are not using other than void. We cannot capture in this particular case. In this particular case, we cannot capture the return value. So the developers won't be using other than void. And here, what about the method signature? This method won't accept any argument. It should be like this only, without any argument. It should not accept any argument. The method should be of no argument type. And here, to make sure that this method is called, we are keeping one diagnostic message, or simply we are just keeping one statement to understand, or to get the confirmation that this method is executed. So for that, we are keeping one SOP statement. So simply type SYSO, control enter to get the entire statement. Here within the double quote, which class we have defined this method, that is track coach colon, and some text we are giving that inside method do my startup stuff. Okay, we have finished our do my startup stuff method, or init method, defining in the trackcoach.java file. So then we are going to define our method for destroy. So here we are following the same public void do my something like do my cleanup stuff, do my cleanup stuff. Do my cleanup stuff. SYSO, control enter, inside the track coach, inside method do my cleanup stuff. Here as well, we can give any access specifier It should not only be public. We can give it any of the access specifier, and we are most probably giving void. We know the reason. If we are keeping other than void, we are not able to capture the return value. And the method name can be of anything other than do my cleanup stuff. And as far as the method signature, it should be of no argument type, or it should not accept any argument. And we are just keeping one diagnostic message. Save it. So we have finished our first development process, that is defining init and destroy methods inside the trackcoach.java file. Second development process, that is configure the method names in Spring configuration file. Configure the method names in Spring configuration file. In the previous tutorial, we have created one configuration file, that is a beanscope dash application context.xml. The same I'm copying and right click and choose paste. So basically we are using the template of the configuration file that we have created in the previous tutorial. The name of this newly creating configuration file, that is bean LifeCycle hyphen application context dot xml. So hit the OK. Open the newly created configuration file by double clicking on the Project Explorer window. It won't be coming automatically. You should open that from the Project Explorer. I'm just maximizing this window. So here, what we should do is we have created one bean called my coach, right? That is basically referring to the trackcoach.java. In the same Java file only, we have created these two methods, init and destroy method. So in a configuration file, we need to configure the method names that we have created in the trackcoach.java. How can we do that? That is by using property name called init method and destroy method. In the previous tutorial, we have seen that bean scope, by default, bean scope is of singleton. If we do not give any of the scope, that will be of default scope, that is singleton. Whether we give it explicitly or we just don't give any of the scope, the bean scope will be of singleton, right? That is the default scope. We are leaving the scope for default. The property we are using, that is init method. Init method is equal to, within the double quote, we are just copying the method name we have created inside the trackcoach.java, that is do my startup stuff for init method. You should just copy this name and go to the configuration file. Within the double quote, you need to paste that. And for the destroy method, we need to use the property name called destroy method. Destroy method. Within the double quote, we need to supply the method name we have created for destroy. Copy the name of the method, come back to the configuration file. Within the double quote, you need to place that name. Save it. What is the next step? We will be checking out our development by using one driver class. In the previous tutorial, we have created this beanscope demo app.java as the driver class to check out our development. In this tutorial as well, we are creating one driver class for testing purpose. Copy this file and here itself right click, choose paste. For the name of this file, we are calling it as Bean LifeCycle Demo App. Bean LifeCycle Demo App, and we don't need to give the .java extension here. It will be taken care by the Eclipse. You can just hit the OK button. Here as well, you need to double click on the newly created Java file. In the project explorer, double click on this newly created Java file, that is Bean Lifecycle Demo App.java, to get it in the main work window. The first thing what we are going to do is load the Spring configuration file. The Bean configuration file that we are referring for this tutorial or for this development, that is Bean lifecycle application context.xml. That is the new configuration file we have created in this tutorial. The same I'm supplying here. Bean lifecycle hyphen or dash application context dot xml. And some of the code we don't need here. I'm just removing those code. This and all we don't need. I'm just removing that code. So what is the next step? That is, we are going to call the method. We are just calling the method, right? To get the message from that particular implementation class. In this case, track coach. We are calling the method on the bean, right? On bean, call the method on bean by using system.out.println. The reference is the coach dot. You will be finding the methods we can use. So here what we want is get a daily workout method. That one I'm choosing, and save it. Now is the time to test our development. Right click inside the bean lifecycle demo app.java, highlight run as, select Java application. What is the result we are getting? I'm maximizing this console window. We are getting exactly what we are expecting. We are getting the message from the do my startup stuff, and we are getting the system.out.println statement, that is we used to invoke the daily workout method from the track coach. That is basically we are just calling the method on the bean. And next we are getting the destroy method, that is do my cleanup stuff. Track coach inside method do my cleanup stuff. So this matches to our bean lifecycle overview that we have discussed recently. While initializing, it is executing this method, that is init method. The init method here, it is do my startup stuff, and we have used our bean, that is run a hard 5k. And in the end we are we have kept our destroy method. From the destroy method we are getting this message, that is track coach inside method do my cleanup stuff. This is the destroy method we are having in the trackcoach.java file. So it is just the beans lifecycle indicating development. Simple bean lifecycle indicating development. So this is it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching.